Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan. If you're new here, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys what we are going to be reading for the month of November. Now, this year we are doing U.S. history, and so we have actually already studied the portion of history where the Pilgrims came, and we are currently this month going to be mainly focusing in on and studying the American Revolution, leading up to it, the actual revolution, and then the founding of our country. So that's what we're going to be covering as far as history goes in the month of November. Now, the reason that that's important is because the majority of our history is made up of literature. So we're actually using Master Books America's Story 1. However, all we do is just read that chapter, do the work that goes along with it, because I actually teach it at our co-op every Monday. And then throughout the week, as my kids do just a few of those activities throughout the week, then we are also reading a ton of books on those parts of history that we are learning about through America's Story 1. So most of our history is actually the books that we read, and all we're using America's Story 1 for is just basically as a guide to kind of guide us along the way, so to speak. So I'm going to get started with what we are reading now. All right, so I've kind of tried to put all of these books in categories. You guys are going to think I'm crazy when I say that we are going to be planning to read all of these books. I'm looking at them all and I'm like, how am I going to read all these? But we actually do read a ton, an absolute ton. So we do quite a long morning basket time in the mornings. Then we also read a lot before bed or in the evenings and throughout the day, all interspersed throughout. We moved our TV out of the living room and it is downstairs, but my husband works from downstairs during the day. So through the week, my kids basically get like no TV unless we watch a little show during rest time or something like that on our computer. So basically all the choices they have are to play outside, play in their room, do schoolwork, or read during the day. So during the weekdays. So all that to say, these books will get read. So let's get started on what we're reading. Now, the first category I'll talk about is, I guess, our Thanksgiving category, which let me grab a few more of these because I had a couple down there. So the first category is what we're reading kind of more on a November, like Thanksgiving focus. So the first one is just like this little fun book that is Thanksgiving all around. I ordered this off a book outlet a while ago, and it's like a little lift the flap kind of thing. Just something fun for my younger kids, because if you are new here, I do have 6 children. They are ages 10 and under. So I have a lot of really young kids too, as well as a couple of more upper elementary kids. The other one I got is a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. So it's just the book version of the movie. We've actually already read this one, and it's only a few days into November. The next one I got, actually it refers to October in this book, but I thought that this would be really good for my 3-year-old. I'm kind of doing some taught school-ish things with her. And so I got this with her more in mind, but all of my kids will enjoy it. But it's just pick a circle, gather squares, a fall harvest of shapes. And so it is pretty cool, actually. Each, the art in here is really neat too. So like, for example, you're looking for rectangles, diamonds, hexagons. So it's a neat little book. So I thought this would be really good for talking about shapes, but also to be a fall themed book. Okay, so the next one is just a book called The Very First Thanksgiving Day, and it's just a picture book version of the Pilgrim's story. which, as I already said, we have studied pretty extensively this past month in our history and in our read alouds for that month. Okay, so the next one that we are reading through, and I'm going to do this because I'm trying to cover up the library name, but the next one is Margaret Pomfrey's Pilgrim Stories. And so this is a really old book, first of all, but it's just different little pilgrim stories that have been actually really good so far. We've read a couple of them so far, but the kids are really enjoying this, and this is a really good kind of classic Thanksgiving book, and it's an easy read. So it looks like a thicker chapter book, but it's really not like an overwhelming read. It's a pretty easy read. Okay, so this book, I'm so excited about this book. It is a chapter book, but it's not very long. You guys, I am so excited about reading this with my kids. So it is The Hoboken Chicken Emergency. I vividly remember my 3rd grade teacher reading this to us when I was in 3rd grade, forever ago, because I'm well into my 30s, and and I vividly remember this book, and I thought it was so stinking hilarious. So I am so excited to share this with my kids. This is such a fun and silly, good read that is Thanksgiving themed. Basically, he lives in Hoboken. His mom asks him, the boy's mom asks him to go and pick up a turkey or a chicken, anything, and there is nothing to be found in their town except a giant oversized chicken that is alive. And so it's all about all the different things that happen and all the ways that they kind of get into trouble and things like that. Anyway, it's so cute. And so I made sure to order this from Amazon. I'll stick a link down below if you are interested in grabbing this one to share with your kids as well. But this is definitely so excited about that one. Okay, so the next thing are our actual read alouds. Well, there's a few of them that we've already started actually. So we are currently a few chapters into The Sign of the Beaver. This one shouldn't take us too much longer. We're actually about halfway through this one right now. So this one we're already into. We started in October and we will finish pretty soon. Then another one that we started it's from a series called the Melindy Quartet. It came highly recommended from a friend at church, and this is actually her book she let me borrow. The first book in the series is called The Saturdays, but it is a family that lives in New York City around the World War II era, I believe, from what I remember reading so far. I don't know that it actually said in the beginning, or in the part that we're in so far, but it's really good. Really enjoying this. And so yeah, so that's what we are reading. That's kind of a more for fun kind of thing. The next one that we are reading for fun is The Mouse and the Motorcycle, and my kids love this. I do not expect this to take much longer. We actually just started it today, and I read 2 chapters and they were begging for more. So I don't expect this to take very long at all for us to get through. We'll probably actually finish it in the next few days. Okay, so the other 3 read alouds that we're reading this month. So one of them is King George, What Was His Problem? The Whole Hilarious Story of the American Revolution. So these books are so much fun. We actually have 2 of them. We have this one, and then the other one we have is the Wild West one that we are planning to read once we get to that point in history. But they're written in a way that it's just so funny the way that it's written, but it's interesting and it's very facts-based. So it looks like a pretty easy read, so I know we'll probably get through this one pretty quick as well, and my oldest son will probably love this. With books like this, he usually will read ahead of where we are. Like if it's something that's written like really funny or exciting or something like that, he'll pick it up and he'll read ahead, and then we as a family will read back over it in a read aloud. Okay, so the next 2 are ones obviously that we haven't started, but we will move into. One is Tolliver's Secret that takes place during the Revolution, and Mr. Revere and I. So that's those. And then the very last one is one that my oldest son is reading and loving, and I think I'm going to read it when he's finished with it. But it is The Notorious Benedict Arnold, a true story of adventure, heroism, and treachery. He is loving this book. So I ordered this, and when it came in, he immediately picked it up and started reading. It is a super thick book, but it's actually not that difficult of a read. So just if you're looking at this and wondering if it would be appropriate for your child, I would honestly say a 4th and 5th grader could easily read this. So even though it is kind of thick for 4th grade, but if you have a pretty voracious reader, so to speak, then it shouldn't be an issue probably. So, all right, so some more American history, Revolution time period, picture books. Let's go in that direction next. So more of like a picture book kind of thing. So this is still, it's pretty long reading section, so this is not going to keep the attention of like a super young kid unless you have a really good listener. But this is Phoebe the Spy. We're going to be reading this one, and I shared a little bit more about this one in what we are reading this year, or maybe it was in my video about what our U.S. history curriculum is. Anyway, I'll drop both of those links down below if you want to see that, but Phoebe the Spy is one of our books for this month. Also, George versus George, the American Revolution as seen from both sides. My oldest son has already been looking through this and reading through this already. I love the way this book is written, and I know it's going to be great. The next one is an illustrated version of Longfellow's poem about Paul Revere's ride. And so it's the poem, and it's all illustrated with beautiful illustrations. So I think that one will be really great too. Okay, so one of the resources, I love these books right here. If you grew up with George Washington, we have a lot of these if you grew up in colonial times, if you lived during the American Revolution. Actually, I think I have that one. I need to look for it and add it to this. But these are just fun reads. What about the bathroom? Like questions kids would have. I probably would have thought of those kinds of questions as a kid. Well, where was the cooking done? How did people light the house at night? What did children do to have fun? Let's see. There's all kinds of different things in here. Could you hear the news on radio or TV? How did people get their mail? So these are great resources for studying any point in history or any person in history. So this one is during George Washington. We also have an Abraham Lincoln, a colonial one. I don't remember all the ones, but they are so good. Then the next one I checked out from our library. I love the DK books. We've always used these. Even before I homeschooled my kids, we've always had a lot of DK books. But this one is the Eyewitness American Revolution one. I really like these because they show actual pictures of artifacts, but also give like background information about them and stuff like that. So this is just a good like reference resource. Okay, so the next one is The Brave Women and Children of the American Revolution. And I thought this would be really interesting. And so I went ahead and grabbed this because I thought it would lead to some interesting knowledge. So then the next one is The Rebellious Colonists and the Causes of the American Revolution. So this one right here, my plan for this is actually my oldest son who is 10. My plan is for him to actually read this. I'm going to assign this as like an independent read. It's not anything too terribly intense. of course, but it is very appropriate for his age as far as a nonfiction book and or informational text, whatever you want to call it. And so my plan is to assign this to him to read throughout the month, just to read a little bit each day. And then I want him to do kind of a presentation on it for our family on, you know, what caused the American Revolution. So I think that would be really good for him and a great way to take it a little bit further in his learning. The next one, this book is really cool, you guys. I've already looked through it quite a bit. It is The Founding Fathers, those horse riding, fiddle playing, book reading, gun toting gentlemen who started America. So this book is just, like I said, it's really neat. I'll show you what some of the pages look like inside. So it has kind of these goofy illustrations right here, but then it has like a little tidbit about the person, famous quotes, and then it has like their height, their weight, their shoe size, their political leanings, jobs they had, years they served in the army, what they thought about this or that, what their religion was, what their position was on slavery, what their achievements, how much land they owned, and even like how wealthy they were. So it's just really neat. And what's really interesting is that I think it was, no, come on. Oh, James Madison. Did you know he was only 5'4"? He's shorter than I am. That was kind of crazy. I was kind of surprised about that. A lot of them were around my height. I'm not even that tall. I'm only 5'6". So another thing that I grabbed off our bookshelf that I've had for quite some time is this Great Colonial America projects that you can build yourself. And so this is just really neat. It has like how to make your own fan, but it also has the information about it. How to make your own little caps that they wore, tricorn hat, how to make that, colonial style pocket, make your own cloth, finger knitting, and gives kind of background about weaving, make your own yarn, stuff about Daniel Boone. So it goes over like the people throughout history, dipped candles. I think we're actually going to do that as a project. Make your own miniature bricks and stuff like that. Wampum, make your own wampum. Anyway, so I just thought that I would keep this close by. I'll probably keep it in our morning basket just so I can kind of remember to look through it, because it's right next to where I plan for our homeschool. So that will remind me to look at that and see if there's anything in there for our lesson that day. That is everything that we are reading for this month. Well, not everything. I'm sure we'll add more things. I have a ton of books on hold at the library, but there are so many people using our library that I'm like number 9 on the wait list on a couple of books. So we'll see if I get them. It's mainly just picture books for the month of November that are like Thanksgiving-ish focused. And I just don't want to buy them. And I also want to tell you guys, so there will be another video coming out this month in the next 2 weeks, I guess, that are favorite Christmas books. So be on the lookout for that one, because I have quite a few good ones to share with you guys. So anyway, so that is what I was going to share with you guys today. If you have any questions, put them down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you push that subscribe button. And I will link all of these below if you are interested in any of these. Thanks so much, guys, and have a blessed day.